Welcome, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Welcome to the resident meeting of November 8th, coming to you from the Longwood Room at Village on the Green, also being televised on Channel 3 for those who are staying at home. Boy, if there's one thing that's consistent, it's change. So I'm going to give a few little tidbits of information before we really get started here. First of all, I want to welcome, when he walks in, our Regional Director of Operations, Zach Jacobson, who's here today. He'll probably come in the back door and sit down, but so you know that's who that is. Let me just mention a couple of newcomers so you can have their names in mind. I mentioned them at the council meeting. The Crooms, Danny and Jill Croom in Villa 159, and Laura Lancaster in E312. Okay? Then I've got a couple of other little announcements before we begin our real business. Veterans Day ceremony is at 9 a.m. on Friday in front of the clubhouse. It'll be a short ceremony. It'll be followed by a lunch at noon in, I assume, the Sable. Yes, I know it's the Sable. So that's that. And I also want to say to our veterans, any of our veterans, if you'd like your photo to be displayed, I believe Orlando's putting it up on the glass doors across from the hostess stand. We've done this for years, but if you'd like your photo to be displayed, please bring a photo of you in your military garb to Sandy Garbatini in the annex, at the front desk at the annex. She'll copy it, she'll make it on an 8x10 and give you back your picture immediately. Every year we do this, and then we seem to misplace a lot of our pictures, so please, let's get back in the swing of doing that. Two other notations. On Friday at on Friday the 10th at 2 p.m. is the service in here for Jim Stevenson, and on Saturday the 11th is the service for Bob Coleman at 4 p.m. Those are our most important things to keep in mind. Now then, to our business at hand. Joey has offered to limit his time today so that our newly elected council members can introduce themselves to the community. And this is made possible by approval of an exception to the rule, approval by the resident council at our latest council meeting. The bylaws state that this event should be taking place in December, but we already know who our members are because there was no need for an election. There were 4 openings for at large and 4 people were nominated. So with that, following this meeting, where you all will hear from your different representatives, they will repair at 11:30 to the conference room, where they will elect their chair, their vice chair, and their secretary for the new year. So this is a big deal for council events. It's very busy for us at this time of year. So Joey's truncating his offering today until we finish all our speeches and that sort of thing, and then he'll give whatever he wants to. And then, because his time has been truncated, on the 28th of November, that's Tuesday at 10:30, again in here, we will have another resident meeting, because while we're doing this, LifeSpace is settling their year-end business, and they will have decided what the increase will be for the new year, and that will be announced at that meeting on the 28th. Okay, so that too is very, very important. So let's get to our...
The time?
Pardon me? Oh, it would be at 10:30. 10:30 on Tuesday the 28th. Okay? So with that, let's get to our introductions of our new members. I'm going to start first with the 4 at-large members that you all nominated and were accepted. And I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Zaf Abbas.
Thank you. I don't know if it's working or not, but good morning, fellow residents. I am Zaf Abbas, and I moved to this community 4 years ago. I reside with my wife of 54 years at 569 Village Place. We have made it a home, and it will stay our home until the end of our lives. I became representative of the Villas 2, and I've been representative of that area for nearly 3 years now. As you know, Villas 2 consists of 20 new villas and 12 old villas. So we welcomed all the new people, my wife Marjorie and I, and we have tried to help them as much as we possibly could. We've answered their questions, and we have been able to provide them with information to make their life easier and to make them more at home, like we feel at home here. In addition to that, Marjorie has taken up a few projects, and all those projects have been helpful to the residents at large. Some in this area, some in the Oaks, and of course one outside, which has provided beautification of the area. And many of you residents have made comments that it's really been wonderful. Our aim has been to help anyone that we could and make their life easier. At the same time, I'm going to be now at-large representative, so I'll be representing you all. And as I stated before, we have done our best that we could. We are available to provide information to you all about anything. All our life we have spent, Marjorie and I, in taking care of the people and patients. As you know, Marjorie is a retired nurse and I'm a retired cardiologist. So we've spent our life in taking care of the people throughout, and we want to and continue to do so. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free. I'm very easily approachable. You can contact me any way you want, by telephone, directly, and we come to eat here very frequently. So you can come to us anytime you want and contact us. I also want to mention that we have, we'll try our best to make our life and your life as easy as possible. We have participated in the activities of this place. I have been member of the Healthcare Committee for 3 years, and for 2 years Finance Committee. And Marjorie has been member of the Healthcare Committee and the Culinary Committee. We have done our best to be as helpful as possible to anyone. We've done our civic duty, and we have tried to be good citizens for this community and our newly adopted country. I thank you very much, and please be free to call us anytime you want. I want to thank Anne for giving me the opportunity to talk to you all, and I want to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Zaf. Now Stan Goldstein.
Good morning, fellow residents. My wife Jo and I have been residents of Village on the Green for the past 11 years. In way of background, I had 28 years in the Air Force, had the opportunity to fly 100 combat missions over North Vietnam. My educational background is that of an industrial engineer, both a bachelor's and master's. And it is that education that has caused my life flow and how I tend to operate. It causes me to look at everything as a process or an operation, and what can we do to do better. As some examples of that, when I came here initially, Village on the Green shut down resident council and meetings for the summer months. I pointed out we are a 12-month-a-year operation, and not all of us owned homes up in the mountains. Also, it was a summer day, and I was walking to the clubhouse with tie, shirt, and jacket, and I didn't think that was too smart an idea. So we did get a change in that. I saw a need for IT training, and we got that up and going. Other things I've been involved in, you heard there'll be a Memorial Day service Friday at 9 o'clock. For the past 10 years, I inherited from Sandy Gonzalez the presenting, having the honor to do Memorial Day celebrations in this room, and on occasion, parades when possible. Been on other committees, the bylaw committee for the next 10 years, evaluating how these things change and need change. So really what I want to say is, my goal is to make this place better tomorrow than it is today. And I'm looking to your help in helping me do this. Steve Gus says, for every crazy, oh, shut up. Now it's 2 minutes was up, I'm gonna take 15 more. Steve Gus said, for every 9 crazy ideas I have, 2 are worthwhile. Anyway, if you've got an idea, one of the crazy ones, come see me, let's work together, let's make this a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Next, our third at-large representative, Basil Flum.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Basil Flum. I think know most of you. For 15 years now, Dodie and I have happily shared Villa 400. Before that, for almost 20 years, we lived in Sable Point, the Winding Creek community up the road. And I served on that committee, the homeowners group, the Community Service Association, for 4 years as the chair while I was there. That was my first Florida gift. I doubt that since I've been here 15 years, I doubt I can change anybody's mind about me. But I'll try. Okay, during the last 15 years, I've served as a member of the Resident Council, member and chair of the Finance Committee, and current chair of the Brady Wilkins Scholarship Board. Professionally, I'm an inactive Indiana CPA, certified internal auditor as well. I served 30 years in the United States Air Force, and retiring as commander of the Air Force Audit Agency in 1989. At Village on the Green, however, I've pursued understanding the very unique business practices of CCRCs. I even spent 2 years as the president of the National Association of CCRC Residents. Dodie and I have celebrated 64 anniversaries and welcomed 5 children into the world, 18 grandchildren, and now 2 great-grandchildren. So, big family. These are my greatest gifts and treasures. Today, my family is you. Here, surrounded as we are by the natural beauty of Village on the Green. I now eat, live, play, and associate primarily with residents of Village on the Green, who share their life experiences that enrich me immensely. But we're not alone. Florida Statute 651 provides a robust framework for life in a CCRC, as such as ours, and prescribing this very resident council that we're discussing this morning. Gifts like Statute 651 didn't just happen and come to us from the sky. It was largely fashioned by efforts of CCRC residents just like us. giving us voices to the needs and to voice the needs of residents to the legislators who shape it into the legislation we now have. With healthcare and ensuring and shaping the relationships with our healthcare providers, the LifeSpace Communities, Inc. Resident councils provide a similar forum where residents may submit issues and inquiries on subjects that address all facets of Village on the Green life. Residents can and do bring important issues into focus for those who create, manage, sustain our community, and ensure it is adapted to future occupants. To sum it all up, I believe I've received many, many gifts, education, family, and I'm very grateful for all of them, including those current and prior residents, the ghost of the Village on the Green that have done so much that we enjoy today, who we've never met. I'm privileged to serve as a member of your council, and to the best of my abilities, it is my way, really, of expressing my gratitude for all that I have been given. Thank you.
Thank you, Basil. Al Porter.
Thank you, Ann. Here's the plan. Wrong speech, sorry. Those of you who know me know that I'm a fan of Winston Churchill and his funny sayings, and what I like the most is his definition of a speech. He said, a good speech should be like a woman's skirt. Short enough to create interest, and long enough to cover the subject. So here we go for 2 minutes, running along. My first wife of 63 years, Marjorie, and I have been in Village on the Green about 5.5 years. Having moved here from another CCRC over in Lake County, and this one is much better. I am Al Porter. Marge and I are both native Floridians. I'm from Pensacola. She's from Orlando. Orlando girl came home. We have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 1 great-grandson from 2 weeks ago, brand new. We've been pretty active in the community in our time here. I presently serve as an unelected ex officio member of the council as chair of the finance committee, because I was asked by the then resident council chair to chair that committee. Also, 4 years ago, I was asked to chair the neighbor-to-neighbor committee as well, and so I also chair that one. They're both very good committees, wonderful people. We have great folks here. And those of you who participate in those committees, I appreciate your work, that we work together. Actually, that, you know, the money's pretty good and it keeps me off the street and out the bars. So, we're a great group. Our most important job for 2024 is to improve our occupancy rate. We hope to close the year at about 79% with a target of a little over 80%. So we're doing fairly well, but we're not there yet. We have over 50 unoccupied apartments in Village on the Green. With that vacancy rate, we don't earn enough money to cover our own expenses, so we have to use other people's money. It means we borrow a little bit from the home office. Ultimately, we'll pay it back. Remember, Maggie Thatcher said the problem, you know, is you're using other folks' money. That's what we call socialism. She also said that the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. So we need to move that occupancy rate north of 80, maybe within a year, close to 85, ultimate target of about 90%. That means that everybody in this room, including me, is a salesperson, or certainly needs to be if he or she is not. If you see a person in the village that is a stranger to you, approach that person, introduce yourself, make yourself known. It could be a resident that's new that you haven't met. You gain a friend when you do that. But if it's a visitor, a prospective resident, you can make a good prospect a better prospect. Tell them about Village on the Green. Tell them what you like. Yes, we have problems, but we're working on them. And if we got our occupancy rate up and developed a surplus, think of all the things we could do with the extra money and make this place an even better place. So that's what we need to do, folks. I hope to be a part of that. I have been in for the 5.5 years and hope to be for at least another 5.5. We love it here, we love you all, and I hope that we can work together and accomplish those goals. I think my 2 minutes are about up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Al. Now, those were your 4 at-large representatives. Now we're going to hear from our building and villa reps who were chosen by their particular buildings to serve on the council. But of course, on the council, they serve all of us. And so I'm going to do this in order of building alphabet. And we'll start with Sue Scambus, who is fairly new here at Village on the Green. Building A.
Good morning. And to follow up on what Al said, I spent 2 hours with a prospective resident on Sunday afternoon. She'll be here tonight at karaoke sitting at my table. So if you see anybody that you don't recognize, come up and say hi to Elizabeth Taylor. Not the same one. No violet eyes on her, but she and her husband are very interested, and she's coming back for a sales visit with Christina tomorrow. Okay, I am new. My little dog and I moved to Village on the Green from the College Park section of Orlando back in June. I had lived there. He had not lived here that long, but I had lived there for 40 years and had a very enjoyable career as a biology professor at Valencia College, part of the community college system for Florida. I taught freshman biology and human anatomy and physiology. My favorite pastime is to travel, and in the 6 months I have been here, I have been to Iceland and have just recently returned from the Chincoteague Islands off of Virginia, where the wild ponies are. And if you pull me to a corner, I will regale you with stories of these trips for hours and hours, because I've had a very good time doing that. Here at the Village, you will find me every Tuesday morning in the butterfly garden, where I am helping to weed and trim under the tutelage of Marjorie Abbas and the advice of the Sweetwater Oaks Garden Club, which I have recently joined. You will also find me working out here and in the pool with Helen, and you will find me on a trivia team, which I enjoy very much, and have recently joined the Brady Wilkins Scholarship Board. I have a lot to learn about our community, and I am fortunate to have wonderful mentors in Building A, women who have served as building rep in past years, and they are anxious to help me out. I'm thinking that my role is communication, to communicate the concerns of the building residents to the resident council, and then to communicate information from resident council and the various communities committees back to my residents. And we hope to have a few more social events coming up this year too. So I appreciate the chance to talk to you, and I feel so fortunate that I know so many of you because I've had a chance to meet so many in my first 6 months here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. That was Building A. Now Building B, Meryl Schwartz.
Excuse my grin,
We would.
and excuse my glasses, I forgot my reading glasses, so these are Steve's. Steve and I moved here in, well, we've been here over in Village on the Green over 5 years, 5.5 years. But we were living in Sable Point, not far from Basil, and we moved in 1984 with our family. So our children were raised here and went to school here. My activity when we moved here was mainly volunteering in the schools. I volunteered heavily in the elementary schools that my children went to, the middle schools, and I kind of tapered off in the high school because I figured they didn't want to see me there. And anyway, they went to college up north, and they have not been down since. They love it up there, and so we go up when we want to visit them. And let's see, this is really my first foray in becoming involved in activities in Village on the Green. So I'm lucky that Sandy Shantini, who lives right below me, is an excellent role model that I can rely on, and she's wonderful. My background is, well, I can make this very short and fast. I was born and raised and educated in the Bronx. And when we moved to Chicago, I got my master's degree in library science because I decided teaching was not for me. And I was in the dark ages because this was before computers. So you had to know everything up here. And so it's been an interesting journey working there. And Steve, my husband, he's involved in the Plant Operations Committee, and he's also a representative with the Sable Point Homeowners Association. And one of my goals is to get together with the other building reps and talk about activities we can do and how we can make it better. And I know I spoke to a couple of new building reps about that. I think we need to get our act together and just work as one unit, all the building reps. And is my 2 minutes up? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
I love that we have newcomers coming out to join the council activities. Building C is Diana Riklewski.
Is this okay? Can you hear me? Not really? No. Can you hear me now?
A little closer.
A little closer. Like this?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Diana Riklewski. Before I submitted my name for consideration as Building C rep, I had been thinking quite a bit for some time about a new idea. And that idea, once it got to paper, eventually became a new idea for 2024. So just 2 days ago, Monday the 6th, all Building C residents were invited to meet in our lounge to review a handout entitled New Plan for 2024, which, by the way, also states the official duties of being a building or a villa rep here. So at Monday's meeting at Building C, there was a great deal of excitement and energy in the room as we discussed a new organizational plan, which includes having 4 residents working with the building rep in 4 specific areas. In fact, one resident suggested adding a 5th specific area, so we readily agreed to that as well. So in 2024, the 6 of us, 5 assisting and myself, will meet and communicate regularly, exchange ideas, monitor all activities, and each of us will stay up to date in all 5 specific areas. The new plan for 2024, the handout that was on Monday at the Building C meeting, is all here on this one page. And we are happy to share this with anyone that's interested. The last small paragraph perhaps says it all. Benefits of the 2024 new plan. Several C residents would become familiar with the inner workings of being a Building C representative, and they may want to consider it in their future. Also, a new Building C rep would know that several other residents could be assisting him or her as well. So now, we just have to make all that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Larry Herbert, Building D.
Good morning. I'm Larry Herbert. I've been here for 7 years. I'm the building rep for Building D right next door. Next year will be my 3rd year as building rep for Building D. And in the past, I've been on the social committee, on the foundation advisory committee, and I was chairperson for that committee for 4 years. And I hope to serve the community in whatever way I can. Thank you.
Larry said it was going to be short. Joyce Akitis, who is in Building E. She too is a new one joining us. Fellas.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Akitis. I'm the building rep for E. My husband Jim Stout and our fluffy white dog JJ live in E120. He's probably more famous than any of us are. We're from the Philadelphia area. We moved to Fort Myers in 2012 and didn't like some of the visitors like Irma, so we decided to come to Village on the Green. We'll be here 3 years in March. My background is I have a BA in journalism from Michigan State University, a BS in accounting from Temple University in Philadelphia, and an MBA in computer science from Temple University in Philadelphia. I spent several years as a feature writer and editor-in-chief for business magazines, and then I decided to transfer to information technology, where I designed systems and was a project manager. In Fort Myers, I was involved as a committee woman, and for my church, I put together an active shooter plan. When I came here, I thought I'd retire and take it easy. That didn't work out. For a year now, I've been on the plant operations committee. I'm also very active in current events that meets every Monday. You're all welcome to attend. My goals is to visit with every member of Building E. An awful lot of our people do not come out to meetings, partly because they're unable to. I want to share as much information as possible and also help have their voices heard for any issues and concerns they have. And I also look forward to working with my fellow building reps to come up with ideas and plans. Thank you.
Goodness, you can have a dynamic council. Susan Craig, Building F. Here you dance.
I was threatening to do an interpretive dance, but Building F. So anyway, Murray and I have lived here for almost 2 years now. I love it unabashedly. I think this is a wonderful place. I'm a crazed cheerleader. My education was in advertising and psychology, and I worked as a mental health counselor, and I'm retired now. I will carry on what Sam has been doing. I don't really have any grand plans. I'll pick a lot of brains and that's about it. And the
Now we go to the villas. Our Villa 1 rep is Eddie Seabrooks.
You didn't
You
have
have
to talk a lot.
You have to.
Well, now I know.
You have to.
Hello, everybody. I'm new here. I've been here for a little over a year. Moved in the week before Hurricane Ian decided to come to the neighborhood. So it's been good. Before I moved here, only thing I did officially was HOA for the community I lived in over on the southwest corner of Orange County down around Dr. Phillips. Before that, I was law enforcement in Pennsylvania, small town. Of course, because the steel mill's closed, they run out of money. So they said, well, we need you to work weekends. I said, I can't live on weekend work. So my wife said, we're gonna move. That was my first wife, God rest her soul. We moved to Orlando, and a friend of mine that I knew says, we're hiring at Disney, they're hiring everybody. So I said, okay. I got a job at Disney, spent 26 years working for the mouse. But hey, had good benefits, good. I was a security specialist. We did a lot of marathons, entertainment, did VIP details. It was great. But I met a lot of nice people here, and it's very good to know. Stan has talked to me and said, hey, go ahead and sign up for being a rep because my term is up. So I said, I'll think about it. I talked to my wife, and most of you who ever got to the concert know her, that she loves her harp, so she's tied up with the harp. She's performing on the 17th at the Orlando Museum of Art for the Festival of Trees. And yes, I've seen a number of people are signed up to go for that. I am known for 3 things around here. And that's the BBT, bocce ball, trivia, and the voice of Bunko, as somebody once put it. Yes, on Saturdays when we do Bunko, I am the announcer and I give all the details and speeches on what is need to be done when you get your prize at the end of the game. But also on top, I'm a serious person when it comes to the time that I have that I can spend as a guardian angel. Leon talked me into doing that. I had no clue. He said, yeah, you'll be fun at it. Okay, but it's been very good, and I met a lot of interesting people over there, and it's very good. And as for that, I don't have anything else to say. So welcome me, I'm welcome. Have fun, enjoy life, because we love it.
I think you all know that Villa 1 runs the villas from across from the clubhouse on up to the front gate. I won't give the numbers, but that's Villas 1. And now we'll hear from Richard Levine, who where's Richard? There he is. Oh, that's Richard over there. Villas 2 run from the health center the other way to another building. Welcome, Richard.
Many of you have met Tufi, my 11-year-old puppy, but for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Tufi's dad. My wife, Phyllis, and I, and Tufi, of course, have lived at Village on the Green about, I guess, 7 months. And I want to thank each of you for helping us feel at home, and we really do. We've made the right decision. We're happy to be here. Prior to moving to Village on the Green, we lived in Seminole County for 50 years. Phyllis taught high school for a ton of those years while I was a home builder, land developer, and a consultant in that industry. The one thing that I learned through my career was the ability to recognize talent and to set the framework for that talent to work together and thrive. These hearing aids make me feel like I'm screaming, but when we moved to Village on the Green, it was immediate that I recognized the talent that existed within these quarters, and how well we all seem to work together. And that was refreshing to me. I'm a new part of the council, and I'm delighted to be there. And I'm representing, as Ann said, the Villas 2 community. I hope to effectively represent them. I also hope to be an active part of the council and do just a bit more than my share. Thank you.
All right, that concludes their presentations. These 12 people will depart in a little over 15 minutes to choose their chair, their vice chair, and their secretary, and that I'm going to try to send out an announcement in the door hangers tonight that will inform everybody who the complete council is. We are now going to let Joey have a few words.
Oh, wow.
After which we will conclude.
Are you sure?
Sounds like wishful thinking. No, I promise to be good. Next time I'm going to lead out, so I don't have to follow that wonderful group of speakers. I had some good hearty laughs there, but I will tell you, one of the main things I take away is a sense of gratitude. It's awesome to be a part of this community, to be working for you, to be serving you, and that's just kind of puts wind back in my sails, knowing we're all rowing in the same direction, and definitely echo a lot of the themes there with, we're not perfect and we've got things to improve on, and I'm certainly committed to that, but just feeling really grateful and happy to be a part of this process in this community. So I have taken the time to do some snipping to my presentation. And anything that I leave out, I will certainly cover at our next meeting, which I have a slide on that. So if anyone, the visual folks, you'll see the date and time for our budget, our rate increase meeting, and then I'm keeping the December all residents meeting as well. So we'll be meeting a little bit more frequently than normal, but I'll try and make it pleasant for your bottoms so you don't totally fall asleep there. So, as you know, we've been hammering away all year. 2023 has been about kind of 4 large buckets, and there's a lot of metrics within those. So, team members are the engagement there, customers, you, net promoter score and satisfaction, occupancy, as Al hit on, and then all of that driving our financial performance. So we're going to take a little bit different instead of going enterprise, region. We're just going to kind of focus a little bit about the community and where we have been. These numbers are as of September. So this is first revenues. What I highlighted there in blue, that's the variances that we have. So in assisted living, our census was a little bit softer. We had a couple of vacancies there throughout the month, so that our revenues were a little bit below budget. Home health continues to do very, very well, far exceeding budget. Obviously, some of the budgetary might be a little bit of a guess and check on our part there, but certainly the caseload remains strong, and we're doing very well on that front. Independent living, we're below revenue there. Part of that is driven by the number of people that moved in September. That was below our forecasted number. And also remember, we get a processing fee of every entrance fee. You get 5% of every entrance fee that comes in. So when we miss on the number of moves, or when we sell homes that are lower than the average budget, that obviously impacts our revenue. And then our occupancy being lower than budget as well shows up there in independent living. Memory care continues to run full or almost full all the time, so their revenues exceed our budget. And then skilled nursing, we've been doing a good job keeping the house full, so now the focus really is on reimbursement. How much are we getting from all the folks that are coming in? Are we doing a good job maximizing the services that we're doing? Are we getting paid for them? Part of that is documentation. Are we doing a good job from a nursing perspective capturing all the services? Another part of that is, are we doing a good job negotiating contracts with the payers like Medicare Advantage to get good reimbursement rates? So it's a little bit multifaceted, but we're kind of beyond the, okay, we're at 100%, but what's the quality of the payer mix essentially in skilled nursing? And then are we doing a good job maintaining our costs? So talking about costs on the expense side, assisted living, a little bit over budget there, mostly driven by labor expense. Assisted living has been bit through September. We had some COVID outbreaks, so we had quite a few team members that were out. Once they're positive, they're out for 5 days, so that can put a stress from an overtime perspective and even an agency usage perspective when we have team members out for an extended period of time. Community-wide, this is kind of a generalized bucket. I know folks on my finance team hate this bucket because they want me to make sure I'm attributing everything to the correct level of living. From a management perspective, I appreciate community-wide because things like culinary. Yes, we serve in all levels of living, but putting it in community-wide helps me see in a quick glance how is culinary performing as a department in a whole. Same with resident services, same with environmental services. Those are community-wide. Yes, they operate in all levels of living, but community-wide gives me a general bucket to monitor. Home health over budget, but then when you look at the revenues, you can see obviously when you have a higher caseload, you're going to have higher labor expenses, so that's where you see that overage pop up. Memory care running under budget, doing a good job managing their labor. And skilled nursing, about $19,000 over budget. They've done a tremendous job and continue to reducing the amount of agency usage. I think this last month, again, these are September numbers, but in October, I think we only had $5,000 worth of agency. So that's like a huge drop for us, and really kudos to them. Overtime still seems to be a bugaboo over there, so we're continuing to work on that. And then our expenses related to the payer sources. So your reimbursement might be lower with a Medicare Advantage person, but you're still paying for the same drugs, you're still paying for the same medical supplies and things like that, so we need to do a good job making sure we're monitoring that and being good stewards of those funds. So overall, between revenues being off and expenses being off, that means our net operating margin is off for the month as well. So in the red by 114,000. Our budget was to be positive 150, so a very large delta there. I think you will start to see this shrink over the next couple of months here as we've had a good number of move-ins, especially with quite the spurt we'll talk about we're going to get in December. We are positioning ourselves for a good start to 2024, but it is important that we continue to make sure we have our ducks in a row from an expense perspective, and then that we're also building on the IL occupancy. Because ultimately, for us to get to the point where we're contributing positively to the enterprise and to our long-term commitment, we have to grow that IL occupancy and grow that top-line revenue there. So summary, high level, September's net operating margin was negative there, as I stated. Talking about occupancy, so currently, to date, we're at 77.1%, so we have 202 units out of our 262 occupied. Attrition, we're doing a really good job on that front. We're at 18 so far on a projection of 32. I anticipate we'll probably add to that attrition figure, but we have no planned attrition to date. Sales, year to date, I got that a little grim. Sales year to date, we have had 24 closings, and we have 10 scheduled. And all 10 of those right now are in December. So December is going to be quite the boom there. The sales team continues to work hard, and I think we will see that number grow in terms of the number of sales that we will have, especially in December. And so that's why I kind of go back to that projection. I actually think we will be even higher than the 80%. I think we may even break 81%. With some reasonable attrition and some additional sales, I think we're going to be, now next year's budget is, I had started off at 80% occupancy. So, you know, if we can start at 81, we're ahead of the game a little bit. So building on that momentum, you know, that steady march towards 85 and 90%. Joy?
What's the break-even percentage?
I don't want to give that to you just yet. Once we do rate meeting, then we can talk a little bit more specifics about that. But good question. I shared this in our weekly update, but I do want to toot the horn of the health center team getting back to 5 stars overall in the skilled nursing. Yep, that's very, very important. Yep. What's awesome is they did it in quality measures. So that's all of that information we submit for payment. CMS also uses that to basically come up with a variety of metrics that they measure you on to say, you know, both from a long-term perspective and a short-term perspective, what is your quality outcome? So we had been at a 4-star on that. The team has been very diligent in focusing on that and has gotten us back to a 5-star. We are in our health inspection window. We're at 15 months now. It's supposed to be an annual, every 12-month inspection. So we're a little over. Just kind of a poll, our leading age Florida was checking in with all the facilities throughout Florida and said, you know, how long have you been waiting? And some are at 18 months now. So I think our both state and federal surveyors are a little pressed for labor on their end, so we're not seeing that as often. But we're kind of actually wanting that inspection to come in because we think we've made some good strides there and can kind of get our rating back up. Staffing, I won't delve too far into this, but this is one, you know, from an organization perspective, we're not going to chase a 5-star rating there. That really has to do with how many RNs you have in-house, and especially RNs on the weekend. RNs are incredibly, they're an expensive labor group, so oftentimes we augment that nursing staff with LPNs. And really to get to a 5-star and that would be quite costly, and I think it's kind of questionable as to whether or not you see those benefits all the time based on the tasks that we're asking of our nursing staff to do. But still want to toot their horn for getting back to 5-star. Obviously, prospective patients of the health center will look at this, but this also drives payment. So if you're not 5 stars, then you get a little bit shaved off of your reimbursement. So right now, because of the 4 stars, we get 2% shaved off. You add 2% back into the skilled nursing because you're back to 5 stars, that is certainly a carrot that we can use both from a revenue perspective as well. Happy or not, last month I had shared we'd seen quite the drop off. I think we'd spent a good almost 2.5 hours in our last meeting talking about that. So this is October's numbers, seeing a good bump back to 85. There was kind of a plea on my part to please use the Happy or Not system. So we saw those numbers kind of rebound a little bit in terms of those participating. It's always, as I keep going back to, it's good information. It really does help Sean and I with kind of understanding where our weak points are. We spent a lot of time on food quality with the new menu rolling out. Gotten a lot of feedback, both good and critical, so we're appreciative of that, but I'm happy to see their performance improve, excuse me. This is the August, actually this is, I forgot to update that again, that is September to October, so the gray line in the back is how we were doing in September, and then the blue line is how we did in October, so you can see we were very erratic in September. We saw, I think, overall satisfaction was at a 63. So you can see that lower trend there. And then in October, we have kind of ticked back up there. A little bit more consistent still. You see some drops there, and my kind of focus is get rid of those wild swings. We want to build a consistent program, not just have great days and then really bad days as well. Team member experience, not too many updates there. Did just want to quickly run through. So as I shared in a memo, Tony Knoll was no longer with us. Lenny Walker is serving as the interim plant director right now. He and I are working very closely together. Trish Kolari, our housekeeping supervisor, is also no longer with us. If you know Xavier Williams, he is the housekeeping coach. He'll be serving as the interim as well. So I'm working very closely with both of those gentlemen to make sure that from a plant perspective, we continue to take care of our community and our residents' needs. Teresa Carter, she has been with us for some time, but I don't know that I formally introduced her. She is a sales specialist. Technically, it is a home office, which I'll share in a minute, support center role. And she is kind of a Jill of all trades. She comes to us from Greystone, organization with extensive experience in CCRC operations. And her goal is really to help buoy our occupancy efforts in independent living from a sales perspective. So she's very seasoned and is really integrated with the team very well. We have 2 new folks coming to the sales team as well. Rebecca Gonzalez, her first day is today. She is going to be the sales assistant. So this is working in conjunction with Angie Moore. Angie Moore is kind of moving more into the move-in coordinator. So if you think from a new resident perspective, you've just placed a deposit on a home, that your sales counselor is going to continue guide you through the journey, but then you'll work more closely with Angie on selections and move-in and all of that kind of coordination that happens from deposit to actual closing and moving in. Rebecca or Becky, who will be doing much more of the answering the phones, helping us with event planning, coordinating a lot of things. And then Christina Naughton will be joining us as the outreach coordinator. This was Karen Devini's position. She just accepted, so we're still probably 2 or 3 weeks out from her officially joining us. Projects, you'll see the weekly update. Tree trimming starts next week. That's going to be campus-wide, and that'll be starting the 14th and runs with a little break during Thanksgiving, ends the first week of December. So. Roof repairs, we got back to it in terms of doing the roof repairs after a little brief pause to make sure we weren't in over our heads. So that's kind of continuing, and I'll communicate that through the memo. A through F window replacement, so building A has been approved. We've gotten that all lined up. In fact, the manufacturer and vendor are out yesterday and today, I think, doing measurements, the interior measurements of all the windows. That's kind of the double check your measurements to make sure before we place that order with the manufacturer. We will be doing Building A specific meetings, which will be open to all, but really catered towards Building A early to understand what are some of the concerns that we need to plan for, and also share some of the plans that we have for helping kind of manage this large project. So A building residents are going to be our guinea pigs. So Sue, appreciate your advocacy there, making sure we don't miss anything. And then hopefully we'll fine tune it with A and just kind of keep rolling B, C, and the hope is to be able to get all the buildings done next year. I have some juggling to do from a financing perspective to pull that off, but I'm still kind of throwing that out there as a challenge to myself to try and get that done next year for all the buildings. Entryway project, I will still stay ambiguous on this one, but we've had, the winds are blowing in a positive direction. Conversations are being had, numbers are being exchanged, and I hope to have something for you probably 2 or 3 weeks. Now we're kind of in the mode of like each action requires a deadline, so now that I got some deadlines, I'm starting to get some structure around how this whole process works out with, and then we'll be able to talk more specifics about the entryway project. 2 quick enterprise updates. I got a couple minutes. Home office is rebranding as support center. Jesse's real big on culture and the words that we use. And in his mind, home office feels very corporate and top down, and he wants the support center team members to know, even though that they don't take care of someone directly in the community, they're taking care of someone who does, so that they need to have that kind of service, culture, service in their mind. So he's pushed that through. Also the West Des Moines office, which had long been our corporate headquarters. They had since kind of moved to Dallas, leaving IT and finance in West Des Moines. That is property they own. With the advent of remote work, there are very few people in that office, so the organization will be selling that property off. They will maintain a small office for the staff that do house directly out of or are in West Des Moines, but the majority of the support center staff from there do work remotely because they are IT and finance. So just wanted to share that with you in kind of the spirit of transparency. It's not a job reduction in any way. It's more of a right sizing the footprint there instead of maintaining such a large physical footprint that they own. And obviously we'll realize some gains off of that. So two quick things. So this is the rates and fees presentation. So that'll be Tuesday, November 28th, 10:30 right here. And then December, Wednesday, December 13th, which is our regular all residents meeting, that will also serve as our required quarterly Chapter 651 meeting. Even though we do it every month, I officially designate 4 of them a year as our quarterly. So when I get audited by the 651, I just share, this is my quarterly meeting, here's when I gave the heads up for it and all that kind of stuff. I think we're going to skip questions, but I will linger so that everybody else can get to their work. And do you want to close up?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yes.
Who is our contractor for the windows?
So the contractor for the windows is Davis Diversified,
Okay.
and I'm blanking on the manufacturer's name, so I can follow up with you on that.
Thank you.
Basil?
Joey, the incentive that we get for going 5-star,
Yes.
does that, what revenues does that apply to, and what is the absolute dollar that really brought home?
So I can't give you the dollar just yet. The quarterly update was done this October 1st, so it'll apply to payments from October 1st going forward. So I'll be able to compare it from a, basically it's a modifier. So let's just take 2% off whatever you claim with Medicare Part A.
Okay.
However, the independent private insurers now use the same system. They say, if Medicare is going to take 2% off because you're not 5-star, we're going to take 2% off because you're not 5-star. So it technically applies to Medicare Part A, but others are using it as well. So it has pretty
all
wide.
Providers, including Medicare?
Not all. There are some that are still behind the times that don't, but I'm sure on their next contract they're going to want to insert that clause in there.
That really puts a value on the 5-star. I think it's
Yes.
a good number.
Mm-hmm.
Joey,
Yes.
I understand that you were embarrassed by the dumping ground behind the villas too, but I haven't seen any improvement there.
Yes, it's a work in progress on that one. Our contractor's working on clearing out the Connex. We'll get rid of the Connex. We'll get a smaller dumpster for that area. We're actually looking to see if we can put the dumpster in the service yard altogether. And then we have to figure out the whole pallet. There's apparently a way of getting rid of pallets that I didn't realize was actually an issue. So we're kind of working through a couple of things, and it all costs money.
But it looks so bad.
Yes, I agree.
Pallets can be trucked to Geneva.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody.